Hi everyone. This video is meant to help with some of the homework in My Open Math where you were given a square root function that doesn't easily show up on the graphing calculator. So I want to show you on this one that you can really do everything you need to do without trying to graph it on the calculator, and you'll probably get more frustrated trying to use the graphing calculator for this one. So I have a square root function. With some kind of oddball numbers in there, 17 times square root of 8 minus 3x. So in this video, let's find all these things, the domain, the horizontal intercept, and the vertical intercept, all algebraically. So we know, right, if we are going to do I'm going to start actually on this one, I think, with what I think is easiest. And I'm going to start from the right and do vertical intercept and work my way over. So my vertical intercept, we always know that we are going to plug in x equals 0, right? That's what it means to be a vertical intercept. So no solving involved here, right? Just inputting, just simplifying and evaluating. So I'm going to plug in a 0, and I'm going to get 17 times square root of 8 minus 3 times 0. So let's do that arithmetic. So we have 17 times, 3 times 0 is going to go to 0. And 8 minus 0 is 8. Okay, so this is just not a nice whole point. So we're going to go on our calculator, and we're going to figure out what is 17 times the square root of 8. And depending on how My Open Math wants us to round, I'll give 2 places. So this is about, if you go into your calculator, do it along with me to make sure that you're able to do that. You should get about 48.08. So right there, you can see that that is not going to be a point that's going to show up. If I don't know where it crosses the axis, the x-axis and y-axis, it's going to be hard for me to graph on the calculator because I won't know what to set my windows to. But now I'll see my vertical intercept is the ordered pair 0, 48.08. Okay, so there's one thing done. Okay, so now let's move on to our next thing on our list here, and let's do our horizontal intercept. We know that a horizontal intercept is where y equals 0. So we know that this is going to entail some solving because we're going to plug in a 0 for our output. And we're going to have to solve for x. So the one thing that makes this different than some of the other ones you might have done before this is that 17 in front. And you're going to see different people do this different ways. Sometimes people square it now and square the 17 in there. What I'm going to do is I always divide out the 17 first. I get this piece alone. I think this is the easiest way to get this piece alone. So I'm going to divide out both sides by 17. And I get 0 equals square root of 8 minus 3x. And now I'm ready to square both sides because I'm trying to undo that square root. So 17 actually didn't affect my horizontal intercept. If you notice, when I divided it out, I still got a 0 on the other side. So I have 0 equals 8 minus 3x once I squared both sides. And now I'm going to continue solving. So let's bring this 8 over. We can see it's not going to come out nice and whole, but that's okay. And I'll divide out my -3. So depending how I want my answer, I could leave this as a fraction and just leave it as 8/3. Or I could make it, it's going to be about, so x would be about 2.67 if I did round it to 2 places. So that would be the ordered pair 2.67, 0. So now we have a couple different ways we could do the domain. So I'm going to just over here on my domain column, I want to just see if you can see what my graph looks like so far without even using the calculator. Now this is not going to be to scale at all, so don't worry about that. But let's just see if we can somewhat plot what we have, and just so you can get an idea. So let's just say that there's my x-axis, right? And let's just say here is about 2.67, 0. So there's my horizontal intercept in red. Now I know this is not to scale, but let's just say that this is up here at the 0.048.08. So I have a point there and there. So I know the only way this could be was if this were connected like this. So my graph would be a half of a sideways parabola. That's not the prettiest half of a sideways parabola, but that would be the shape of it, maybe a little bit more curved, right? So from that, just by doing my intercepts first, I can actually get my domain right now. I already figured out everything I need, okay? So I can see that my domain, right, is going to be from negative infinity all the way to that 2.67, including it. So that's the easiest way to do my intercepts first and then be able to just draw a little sketch of it. To do this on the calculator, I'd have to change my windows. But if I just draw a little sketch, I'll see which direction the graph is going, and then I'll be able to get my domain. Remember, the other option, if we wanted to do it algebraically, would be to take the radicand, the piece that's under the radical, and set it greater than or equal to 0, and to solve it there and solve for x. And you would end up getting the exact same thing. If you subtracted over the 8 and divided out the -3, you would get that x would have to be less than or equal to this 2.67. So hopefully that helps with that, with the couple that are like my open math, like that in my open math on your homework this week.